Assalamualaikum students, welcome to another video from UA code 127.0.0.1. Students, in my today lecture I am going to teach you about a tool that is called Hydra. I will show you how you can actually perform brute forcing of username and password by a tool that is called Hydra. So let's get started. Okay, if I talked about Hydra, students, it's a brute forcing tool. Hydra is pre-installed tool in kalilinux used to brute force username and password to different services such as FTP, SSH, Telnet, MS SQL. You can brute force against username and password for these services. Brute force can be used to try different username and password against a target to identify correct credential. Students, in brute force, you can try different types of usernames and different types of password to actually find the correct password against your victim. And for this purpose, you should have some username files and some password files, and these two files you should use to brute force the username and password. In this lecture, I will show you 3 ways of brute forcing by Hydra. Okay, let's start from the first method, that is actually password guessing for specific username. In first method, I will show you how you can actually find the password of any target if you know the username of that target. So I will move to my terminal. Students, in this lab, I am going to brute force the FTP service, and I have this vulnerable machine and FTP server is running on this machine. So this is the victim machine. It's vulnerable and FTP server is running on this machine. I will move to the kalilinux. Okay. First, I'm going to make a... Okay. Okay, here I create a directory by name Hydra. I will move to the Hydra, and now students, in this lab I need 2 files. One is usernames files and other than is password. So I'm going to create a username file by using nano editor. I typed here user.txt and I will put here some random username. I put here admin 54 and then test23, and then here I type Bob, then I typed here some random username. I will put here okay. I'm going to save it. A user file is created. Now I should create the password file by similar way. Okay, I'm going to put some random password in it. I'm going to save it. Okay, 2 files are present here. You can see. Now it's time to brute force the password. I have already in first case, students, I'm going to show you how you can actually find the password. I know the username. So on screen you can see this syntax I'm going to follow. Okay, if I type here Hydra and hit enter, it's mean Hydra is installed in my this machine. It is pre-installed in kalilinux. If it is not work, then you can download it from GitHub. Okay, if I typed here Hydra -h from the help menu, you see some guidelines about this tool, how you can actually use this. Below you can see some example of this tool is present. You can use this tool in this way. Okay, Now it's time to use Hydra. I typed here Hydra -L. As I say guys, I know the username. In this case, the username is Bob, and then I have to find the password. I will type here the capital P switch, and then I will specify here the password file from which this tool actually find the correct password. Now here I should type the victim. Okay, you can see within a few seconds Hydra successfully fetched the correct password of this user, that is Bob. The correct password of this user is Bob123. Okay, let me show you. If I turn on this vulnerable machine and I click on FTP server, you can see Bob username is present here, and the password of this user is this one, Bob123. It's mean Hydra successfully fetched the correct password of this user. So this is the first method. In this way you can find the password of any target machine. Okay, let's try the second way. In this method you have to find the username. Students, you have to find the username, but you already know the password. Okay, now I'm going to change my command in this way. I typed here I typed here Hydra -L. Now I will use -L capital L for username, and there I should specify the username file, that is this one. And now I typed here -P switch. This is small p. This is small p switch. Before that I use capital P. You can see here I use capital P's. In that case I don't know about the password, but right now I know the password, that is Bob. That is Bob123, and next I can type the victim IP address, and now if I hit enter, okay, it's working, and after a few seconds you can see it's correctly fetched the username against this password. You can see the password was Bob123, and then it's correctly fetched the username of this password, that is Bob. So you can use this syntax in this case. If you know about the password, and then from this password you can fetch the correct username. Okay, let's move to the third one. This is cracking login credential. In this third method, students, I have to find both the username and password. I don't know about the username and password of my victim. So students, now my syntax will become this one. I typed here Hydra, then I will use here -L capital switch. I specify here the user file, and then -P capital P, and then I typed here the password file, and then target IP address, that is FTP 192.168.18.25, and hit enter. Okay, when I use this syntax, you can see it's correctly find the detail of correct credential of this username and password. See, on my server you can see the username is Bob and the password is Bob123. So students, this is all about my today lecture. In this lecture I teach you about how you can actually use Hydra to brute force the username. I teach you 3 ways by which you can perform brute forcing against username and password. Students, definitely you will do practice about this tool. I will come to you with my new lecture. Till that, Allah Hafiz and take care.